What if the ordinary Thomas Jefferson nickel hiding in your pocket right now isn't worth just 5 cents, but thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Some extremely rare Monticello Jefferson nickels with the right mint errors, full steps details, or special varieties have stunned collectors at major auctions. Have you ever handed a nickel to a cashier without giving it a second thought? Imagine if that ordinary-looking 5-cent coin turned out to be worth more than $500,000. It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly why experienced coin collectors never ignore their pocket change. Every single day, millions of Americans spend coins that could be hiding extraordinary value simply because they don't know what to look for. The difference between a spender and a collector isn't luck, it's knowledge. While one person spends a rare coin on a cup of coffee, another recognizes its hidden story and changes their financial future forever. Today, we're uncovering one of the most talked about modern Jefferson nickels among collectors, the 2006 Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel. Under the right combination of extraordinary minting errors, exceptional preservation, and collector demand, examples with dramatic and authenticated errors have attracted tremendous attention in the numismatic community. So before you empty your pockets tonight, stay with me, because the nickel sitting unnoticed in your change could deserve a much closer inspection. The Jefferson nickel has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1938, but the 2006 issue represents an interesting chapter in its history. Just a few years earlier, the United States Mint had introduced the popular Westward Journey design series. By 2006, the traditional Monticello reverse returned, bringing back one of America's most recognizable coin designs. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark, produced hundreds of millions of these nickels. On the surface, that sounds like the exact opposite of rare. After all, how could a coin struck in such enormous numbers ever become valuable? The answer lies in something collectors understand very well. A common coin can become exceptionally valuable when a tiny percentage leaves the mint with dramatic production errors. Those unusual pieces become accidental rarities, separated from ordinary circulation by manufacturing mistakes that were never supposed to happen. Most 2006 nickels are worth only face value or a small premium in uncirculated condition. However, the handful that display spectacular mint errors can become highly desirable to advanced collectors. Now here's where things become fascinating. One of the most desirable characteristics collectors search for is a strong off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned inside the striking chamber. Instead of receiving a perfectly centered design, part of the image is missing while the remaining design shifts dramatically toward one side. The more dramatic the misalignment, provided the date and mint mark remain visible, the more interest the coin usually attracts. Severe off-center strikes immediately stand out because they look nothing like an ordinary nickel. Another highly sought-after error is a broad strike. During the minting process, the retaining collar normally keeps the coin at its correct diameter. If the collar fails, the coin spreads outward under pressure, creating an unusually wide and distorted appearance. These broad-struck Jefferson nickels have a distinctive look that experienced collectors recognize almost instantly. But the story doesn't stop there. Collectors also pay close attention to double strikes. Imagine the coin being struck once, shifting position, and then receiving another strike before being ejected from the press. The result can be overlapping images, duplicated lettering, or dramatic design distortions that transform an ordinary nickel into a fascinating mint error. Every genuine double strike tells the story of an unexpected mechanical failure inside one of the world's most advanced coin production facilities. Attention for just a moment. If you have a jar of nickels sitting somewhere in your home, don't wait until the end of this video. Think about it right now. How many years have those coins been sitting untouched? How many family members have tossed change into that jar without ever looking closely? Sometimes remarkable discoveries happen not at coin shops, but in forgotten containers collecting dust in garages, kitchen drawers, or old piggy banks. Another error that generates tremendous excitement is the clipped planchet. Before coins are struck, round blanks are punched from large metal sheets. Occasionally, the cutting process overlaps an existing hole, leaving part of the blank missing. When that incomplete blank is struck, the finished coin displays a smooth curved section missing from its edge. Authentic clipped planchet errors are carefully studied by experts because counterfeit versions exist, making professional authentication extremely important. Die cracks also deserve careful attention. As minting dies wear out from striking millions of coins, small fractures can develop. Those cracks appear as raised lines on finished coins because the metal flows into the damaged portions of the die. While tiny die cracks are relatively common, large and dramatic examples can become surprisingly collectible, especially when combined with other unusual striking characteristics. Collectors also hunt for die breaks and retained cut errors. These occur when pieces of the die begin breaking away, leaving raised blobs or unusual shapes on the coin's surface. Such errors can dramatically alter the appearance of Jefferson's portrait or the famous Monticello building, making each example unique. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a coin and assumed it was damaged? That's exactly what happens every day. Many genuine mint errors are mistaken for ordinary wear, accidental damage, or machine abuse after leaving circulation. Unfortunately, countless valuable coins have probably been spent simply because nobody recognized the difference between true mint errors and everyday damage. The condition of a coin plays an equally important role in determining value. Professional grading services evaluate every tiny detail, from the strength of the strike to the amount of original mint luster remaining on the surface. Coins receiving grades such as Mint State 66, Mint State 67, or even higher become dramatically more desirable because so few survive in pristine condition after years of circulation. When exceptional preservation combines with a spectacular mint error, collector demand can increase substantially. These are the kinds of coins that generate excitement whenever they appear at major auctions. Serious collectors understand that replacing an extraordinary error coin is often impossible because every genuine example has its own distinctive characteristics. Here's another attention reset. Picture yourself standing in line at a grocery store. The cashier hands you a handful of change. Most people glance only long enough to count the money before dropping it into a pocket. But what if one of those nickels carried a rare mint error worth thousands of dollars? Suddenly, pocket change doesn't seem so ordinary anymore. One reason collectors sometimes refer to extraordinary error coins as ghost coins is because they seem almost impossible to find. They quietly circulate among millions of ordinary coins, passing unnoticed from one owner to another until someone with knowledge recognizes their significance. Unlike famous key date coins that everyone searches for, unusual error coins often remain hidden because they require careful examination rather than simply checking the date. This growing awareness has fueled tremendous interest in modern error coin collecting. More people are inspecting circulation finds than ever before. Online communities, grading services, and major auction houses have helped educate collectors about genuine mint errors, increasing demand for spectacular authenticated examples. Now we arrive at the question everyone has been waiting for. Can a 2006 Jefferson Nickel really be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? The answer requires an important distinction. An ordinary 2006 Jefferson Nickel found in circulation is generally worth face value, while uncirculated examples may carry only modest collector premiums. However, an authenticated example displaying an extraordinary combination of dramatic mint errors, exceptional eye appeal, and elite certified condition could command a remarkable price in the specialized collector market. Claims of values approaching $580,000 represent exceptional scenarios involving truly extraordinary coins with extremely rare characteristics, intense bidding competition, and professional authentication. Such prices are not typical for standard 2006 nickels, but extraordinary mint errors have surprised the numismatic world before by attracting extraordinary attention. That's why authentication matters so much. Experienced collectors rely on respected third-party grading companies to verify that unusual characteristics are genuine mint errors rather than post-mint damage. Certification provides confidence to buyers and sellers alike, making significant transactions possible. Another factor driving prices is simple economics. Whenever collector demand increases while the supply of truly spectacular examples remains extremely limited, competition naturally becomes stronger. Wealthy collectors often pursue one-of-a-kind pieces because completing an elite collection requires coins that almost nobody else owns. Here's something many beginners overlook. The most valuable coin isn't always the oldest coin. Some modern coins become incredibly desirable because of unusual production mistakes that occurred during high-speed manufacturing. Age alone does not create rarity. Scarcity, authenticity, condition, and collector demand work together to determine value. So the next time you receive change from a gas station, restaurant, grocery store, or vending machine, slow down for a few seconds. Look closely at every nickel. Examine the date. Check for the Philadelphia P mint mark. Study the lettering. Inspect the edges. Look for double designs, missing details, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, or anything that appears unusual. Most coins will be perfectly ordinary, but all it takes is one extraordinary discovery to make the search unforgettable. Think about how many nickels pass through your hands over the course of a year. Hundreds, maybe even thousands. Hidden among them could be the very coin most people never notice. Every collector who has made an incredible discovery started with a simple habit: paying attention. The world of rare coins continues to evolve, and interest in dramatic mint errors keeps growing as more collectors recognize their historical importance. Whether you're searching through inherited collections, old bankrolls, forgotten coin jars, or everyday pocket change, knowledge remains your greatest advantage. Every coin tells a story, but only a few tell stories extraordinary enough to capture the attention of the entire collecting community. Remember, the greatest treasures are often hiding in plain sight. They aren't always buried underground or locked inside museum vaults. Sometimes they're sitting quietly inside your wallet, waiting for someone curious enough to notice what everyone else overlooked. Have you ever reached into your pocket, grabbed a nickel, and spent it without giving it a second thought? What if that ordinary 5-cent coin was actually worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Every day, millions of Americans unknowingly spend collectible coins that could change their financial future forever. The difference between a spender and a collector is simple. One sees 5 cents, while the other sees hidden opportunity. And today, we're uncovering one of the most fascinating modern Jefferson Nickels ever discussed among collectors: the 2010 Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel. While a normal 2010 nickel is only worth face value, certain extraordinary error examples have captured the attention of serious collectors because of their remarkable rarity. Some exceptional error coins have been promoted with values reaching astonishing figures, making this a coin every collector should examine carefully before letting it slip away. Before we continue, take just a moment and think about the loose change sitting in your kitchen drawer, your car's cup holder, or that forgotten coin jar collecting dust in the corner of your home. How many times have you ignored those nickels because they seem too common to matter? History has proven time and time again that the most valuable discoveries often come from the most ordinary places. Some of the greatest coin finds in America began with someone simply taking a closer look. That simple habit has turned everyday pocket change into life-changing discoveries for lucky collectors. The Jefferson Nickel has always held a special place in American numismatics. Introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, it honored Thomas Jefferson, one of America's founding fathers. The reverse proudly displayed Jefferson's beloved home, Monticello, a symbol of American history and architectural elegance. Over the decades, the design evolved, but the Monticello reverse remained one of the most recognizable images in U.S. coinage. By 2010, billions of Jefferson Nickels had already entered circulation, making the series appear ordinary to most Americans. Yet experienced collectors understand an important truth. The more common a coin appears, the easier it becomes for an extraordinary error to hide unnoticed for years. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of nickels in 2010, each carrying the distinctive D mint mark. These coins traveled across the nation through banks, cash registers, vending machines, and everyday transactions. The overwhelming majority were perfectly normal. However, coin collectors know that perfection is never guaranteed inside a busy minting facility. Every stage of production, from creating the dies to striking the finished coin, offers the possibility of unexpected mistakes. Those mistakes are exactly what transform an ordinary nickel into something collectors dream about. Now here's something many people don't realize. A genuine mint error is completely different from ordinary damage. Scratches, dents, corrosion, or wear caused after the coin leaves the mint do not create rarity. Real mint errors happen during the manufacturing process itself. They become part of the coin from the moment it is struck. That distinction is what separates an everyday damaged nickel from a potentially valuable collectible. One of the most fascinating possibilities is the double die error. Under magnification, certain letters, numbers, or design elements may appear slightly doubled because the die itself received multiple impressions during its creation. Collectors carefully examine the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," the date, Jefferson's eye, hair details, and even the smallest parts of Monticello. Genuine doubling created during production is far more desirable than simple machine doubling, which usually carries much less collector interest. Another remarkable possibility involves die cracks and retained cuds. As minting dies wear down after striking thousands upon thousands of coins, tiny fractures may begin to develop. These cracks can leave raised lines across the surface of the coin. In more dramatic cases, a section of the die may break away completely, creating a raised blob of metal known as a cud. These dramatic features tell the story of a die literally wearing itself apart while continuing to produce coins. Collectors often consider these pieces miniature pieces of minting history. Attention reset. If you have a jar of nickels at home, pause this video after it's over and examine every single 2010D nickel you can find. You don't need expensive equipment to begin. Even a simple magnifying glass can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. That 1 minute of curiosity could be worth far more than most people imagine. Off-center strikes represent another exciting category. During production, if the coin blank isn't perfectly aligned beneath the dies, part of the design may be missing while another section remains blank. Minor off-center strikes are interesting, but dramatic examples that still display the full date and mint mark are especially sought after because they clearly identify the coin while showcasing the spectacular minting mistake. Collectors also search for broad strikes, clipped planchets, die chips, struck through errors, misaligned dies, and dramatic die clashes. A struck-through error occurs when grease, cloth fibers, or foreign material comes between the die and the blank planchet during striking, leaving unusual missing details or strange impressions. Die clashes happen when the dies strike each other without a coin between them, transferring faint portions of one design onto the opposite die. Every error tells the story of a split-second mechanical event inside the mint that was never supposed to happen. But rarity alone doesn't create enormous value. Condition matters just as much. Professional grading services carefully evaluate every coin for preservation, luster, strike quality, and surface marks. Coins graded in exceptional mint state condition often command dramatically higher prices than circulated examples. A spectacular mint error preserved in pristine condition represents an incredibly rare combination that advanced collectors compete aggressively to own. Here's something that surprises many beginners. 2 coins struck on the exact same day at the same mint can have completely different values. One may remain worth only 5 cents forever. The other, because of a dramatic production error combined with outstanding preservation, may become one of the highlights of an advanced collection. That tiny difference is exactly why collectors inspect every coin individually rather than assuming they're all the same. Let me ask you something. How many nickels have passed through your hands over the last 10 years? Hundreds? Thousands? Imagine if just one of them carried a remarkable mint error that everyone overlooked. That's the excitement of coin collecting. Treasure doesn't always arrive in a pirate chest. Sometimes it hides inside the change from your morning coffee. The market for rare error coins has grown tremendously over the past decade. More collectors are entering the hobby, online auctions have connected buyers worldwide, and social media has introduced a new generation to the excitement of searching pocket change. Increased demand naturally places greater attention on exceptional examples that are genuinely scarce. Collectors understand that unique coins cannot simply be manufactured on demand. Once they're discovered and locked away in private collections, they may disappear from the market for years. Now let's address one of the biggest questions surrounding the 2010D Jefferson Nickel. Could one really be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Most 2010D nickels are worth only face value or small collector premiums. However, collectors often discuss the possibility that an exceptionally rare, dramatic mint error, combined with elite preservation and intense bidding competition, could reach astonishing prices. Headlines about coins selling for incredible amounts usually involve unique circumstances, extraordinary rarity, certified authenticity, and passionate auction competition among advanced collectors. Every coin must ultimately be evaluated on its own merits. Attention reset. Before you spend another nickel this week, flip it over and check the date and mint mark. That simple habit costs nothing, yet it could help you discover something most people would overlook without a second glance. One of the greatest mistakes collectors make is cleaning their coins. It may seem logical to polish a dirty coin until it shines, but professional collectors know that cleaning usually destroys original surfaces and can significantly reduce collectible value. Natural aging is part of a coin's history. If you ever suspect you've found an unusual 2010D Jefferson Nickel, resist the urge to clean it. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and store it in a protective holder until it can be examined by an experienced professional. Another important lesson is patience. Valuable discoveries rarely happen overnight. Many famous collectors spent years studying coins before making remarkable finds. They trained their eyes to notice tiny differences that casual observers ignored. Every coin examined builds knowledge, and every lesson increases the chances of recognizing something extraordinary in the future. Think about how incredible it would feel to discover that an ordinary nickel sitting unnoticed in your collection carried a genuine mint error. That moment of realization is one of the greatest thrills in numismatics. It's not just about the money. It's about uncovering a hidden piece of American minting history that survived years of circulation before finally being recognized for what it truly is. Attention reset. Here's a fun thought. Somewhere in America, someone is probably using a potentially collectible coin to buy a snack right now without ever realizing what they just spent. That's exactly why experienced collectors never underestimate pocket change. Stories like these continue inspiring collectors across the country. Every roll of nickels from the bank represents another opportunity. Every inherited coin collection could contain overlooked treasures. Every forgotten piggy bank has the potential to surprise its owner. Most searches end with ordinary coins, but collectors understand that all it takes is one extraordinary discovery to make years of careful searching worthwhile. As interest in modern era coins continues growing, competition among collectors remains strong. Advanced buyers are constantly searching for unusual pieces that stand apart from ordinary circulation coins. Exceptional rarity, professional certification, outstanding preservation, and undeniable mint errors create the combination that serious collectors pursue with determination. Those factors, not simply age, are what can transform an everyday coin into an object of remarkable collector interest. The lesson is simple but powerful. Never judge a coin solely by its face value. 5 cents printed on a Jefferson nickel tells you its spending power, not necessarily its collector value. Knowledge is the greatest investment any collector can make. The more you learn about minting errors, grading standards, and historical significance, the greater your chances of recognizing an overlooked treasure before someone else does. As we close today's journey into the fascinating world of the 2010D Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel, remember that every coin has a story, but only a few have the potential to become legendary among collectors. Whether you're searching through pocket change, inherited collections, or bank rolls, the next remarkable discovery could be waiting much closer than you think. Stay curious, keep learning, and never stop looking because hidden treasures still exist in everyday circulation. And if you thought today's nickel was exciting, wait until you see the ultra-rare coin we'll uncover in our next episode. A coin so mysterious that many collectors spend years searching without ever finding a single authentic example. You won't want to miss it. The nickel sitting in your pocket right now could be worth 5 cents, or it could be the coin that changes the way you look at money forever. Every day, millions of Americans spend Jefferson nickels without giving them a second glance. They toss them into vending machines, leave them in tip jars, or let them disappear into cash registers. But what if one ordinary-looking 2014D Monticello Thomas Jefferson Nickel was hiding an extraordinary secret? What if a tiny minting mistake transformed an everyday coin into one that collectors would fight over? The difference between a spender and a collector is often just one careful look. Before you spend another nickel, ask yourself one question. Are you absolutely certain it isn't the one everyone else overlooked? The world of coin collecting is filled with incredible discoveries, and history has proven that modern coins can become just as valuable as classic rarities when the right combination of rarity, condition, and minting errors comes together. That's exactly why collectors continue searching through rolls of nickels from banks, pocket change, and old family coin jars. Sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places. The 2014 Jefferson Nickel was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark located to the right of Monticello on the reverse. Hundreds of millions were produced, making the standard version extremely common. On the surface, there seems to be nothing special about it. But experienced collectors understand an important truth. Common coins can occasionally hide uncommon stories. During the minting process, even a tiny mechanical problem can create an error coin that stands apart from every other example produced that year. Let's pause for just a moment. If you have a jar of loose change somewhere in your home, think about it. How many nickels have been sitting there untouched for years? Thousands of valuable coins have been discovered in forgotten collections, dresser drawers, and old coffee cans. Your next treasure could already belong to you without you even realizing it. To understand why error coins become so desirable, it helps to understand how coins are made. Every Jefferson nickel begins as a blank metal planchet composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. That blank is fed into a high-speed coining press where enormous pressure forces the designs from the dies into the metal. Modern presses strike coins with incredible precision, but they are still machines. Dies wear out, planchets shift, grease fills recessed areas, alignment changes. Even microscopic imperfections can create dramatic differences that attract serious collectors. Among the most desirable possibilities on a 2014 Jefferson Nickel is a strong double die. This occurs when the die itself receives multiple impressions during its creation, producing visible doubling on certain design elements. Collectors carefully examine Jefferson's profile, the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," the date, and the lettering surrounding Monticello. Genuine doubling can dramatically increase collector demand because it represents a manufacturing mistake rather than simple wear or damage. Another highly sought-after variety involves die cracks and retained cuts. As production continues, tremendous pressure causes dies to develop fractures. Those fractures transfer raised lines onto every coin struck afterward. While minor die cracks are relatively common, large and dramatic examples are significantly scarcer. When pieces of the die actually break away, unusual raised blobs of metal appear on the finished coin. These distinctive features often become favorite discoveries among dedicated error collectors. Off-center strikes are another fascinating possibility. Imagine a blank planchet entering the press slightly out of position. Instead of receiving a perfectly centered design, part of the coin remains blank while the rest shows an incomplete image. The larger the off-center strike while still retaining the date and mint mark, the more attractive it becomes to collectors. Every percentage of misalignment tells a story of mechanical imperfection frozen forever in metal. Now here's something many people never consider. A tiny mistake that looks insignificant to the average person may be exactly what an advanced collector has spent years searching for. That's why knowledge often becomes more valuable than luck. Some 2014 nickels may also display struck through errors. During production, grease, debris, or foreign material can become trapped between the die and the planchet. Instead of fully striking the design, portions of the coin appear weak or missing. Unlike damage that occurs after the coin leaves the mint, genuine struck-through errors happen during production and can carry substantial premiums depending on their appearance and rarity. Die chips represent another interesting category. Small fragments of the die break away, leaving raised metal in unexpected areas of the finished coin. While tiny chips are common on many series, unusually placed or dramatic examples often generate excitement among specialists who collect die varieties. Collectors also pay close attention to full strike quality. Although millions of 2014 D nickels were minted, finding one with razor-sharp details, flawless surfaces, original mint luster, and virtually no contact marks is surprisingly difficult. Modern circulation quickly damages coins through everyday handling. That means pristine examples graded at the highest levels become increasingly scarce. Here's a question worth asking yourself. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a nickel before spending it? Most people don't. And that's exactly why remarkable discoveries continue happening. Professional grading services evaluate coins using a numerical scale from 1 to 70. Coins approaching mint state 68, mint state 69, or the elusive mint state 70 occupy the highest levels of preservation. At these grades, even microscopic imperfections can determine enormous differences in market value. The finest known examples often become centerpieces of advanced collections because so few survive in exceptional condition. Now let's talk about one of the biggest reasons collectors become excited whenever unusual modern nickels appear: population rarity. It's not always about how many coins were originally produced. It's about how many survive with a specific error in outstanding condition. Millions may have left the Denver Mint, but perhaps only a handful display a dramatic double die while remaining virtually flawless decades later. That's where scarcity begins to drive demand. Imagine discovering a coin that almost everyone else would ignore. Imagine realizing that the 5-cent piece sitting on your desk has characteristics matching one documented by specialists. Suddenly, that ordinary nickel becomes something entirely different. It becomes a conversation piece, a historical artifact, and potentially a valuable collectible. Now comes the question everyone has been waiting for. Could a 2014 D Jefferson Nickel really be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? The answer requires an important distinction. An ordinary 2014 D Jefferson Nickel found in circulation is generally worth face value unless it is preserved in exceptional condition. However, the coin market has repeatedly shown that extraordinary mint errors combined with elite preservation can command astonishing prices. Rare error coins across multiple denominations have achieved remarkable auction results because collectors compete fiercely for unique pieces. Some speculative discussions within the collecting community suggest that if an absolutely extraordinary 2014 D Jefferson Nickel were discovered with a spectacular, one-of-a-kind mint error, authenticated by leading grading experts, and presented in elite condition, its theoretical market potential could reach figures approaching $521,000 during an intense bidding war between determined collectors. Such values represent exceptional scenarios rather than typical market prices, but they demonstrate how rarity can completely redefine the value of a modern coin. This is why authentication matters so much. Thousands of coins appear unusual simply because they were damaged after leaving the mint. Scratches, dents, chemical exposure, grinding, or heat damage do not create valuable mint errors. Serious collectors rely on respected third-party grading services to verify whether an unusual feature truly originated during the minting process. Let's stop for another moment. If you're watching this with loose change nearby, take 30 seconds after this video and inspect every Jefferson Nickel you own. Check the date. Look for the Denver D mint mark. Examine the lettering under good lighting. You never know what detail everyone else has missed. The popularity of Jefferson Nickels continues growing because they remain affordable for beginners while still offering exciting opportunities for advanced collectors. Every year, more enthusiasts begin searching through bankrolls hoping to uncover overlooked varieties. As awareness increases, surviving examples become harder to find because collectors remove them from circulation. History reminds us that many famous discoveries were initially dismissed as ordinary coins. Some sat in drawers for decades before experts recognized their true importance. Others passed through countless hands before finally reaching someone who knew exactly what to look for. Knowledge creates opportunity, and opportunity creates extraordinary stories. The excitement surrounding modern era coins reflects something much larger than money. It represents curiosity, patience, and the willingness to notice details others ignore. Every collector understands that incredible discoveries rarely announce themselves. They hide quietly among ordinary coins until someone pays attention. The next time you receive change at a grocery store, gas station, or restaurant, don't rush to spend it. Hold that nickel for just a moment. Turn it over. Study Jefferson's portrait. Examine Monticello. Look carefully at the date, the mint mark, and every letter. That simple habit could become the beginning of an unforgettable discovery. Markets evolve, collector demand changes, and newly discovered varieties continue surprising experts across the numismatic world. What seems ordinary today could become tomorrow's headline if an extraordinary example emerges from circulation. That's the thrill that keeps collectors searching year after year. Remember, the greatest treasure hunters aren't always digging underground. Sometimes they're simply checking their pocket change with informed eyes. Every coin tells a story, but only a few tell stories worth fortunes. Whether your next nickel is worth 5 cents or something far more remarkable depends on the details hiding in plain sight. And before you leave, here's something to think about. If you believed the 2014 Jefferson Nickel had surprises waiting to be discovered, the next coin we're exploring may be even more astonishing. There's another seemingly ordinary American coin that has stunned collectors with unbelievable auction prices, mysterious minting errors, and an origin story few people know. You won't want to miss that incredible discovery.